For over 10 years, people around the world quietly watched as one of Hollywood's most famous fathers drifted further and further away from his only daughter. That silence has finally cracked, and the truth behind their distance feels heavier than anyone imagined. Suri Null, once known as Suri Cruise, grew up under a spotlight she never asked for. She didn't choose the name, the fame, or the pressure that came with it. The world recognized her face even when she wished it wouldn't. Born famous, raised behind closed doors, and separated from her father by forces way too big for a young person to understand. Now, at 19, she's sending messages through her choices, not her voice. Those choices have shocked everyone who still remembers the image of a picture-perfect family smiling on red carpets. This is the real story of a daughter who grew up watching her father from a distance and a father who slowly watched her disappear from his everyday life. And it all started like something straight out of a movie script. When Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes crossed paths in 2005, headlines exploded before the relationship even had time to settle. Katie, just 26, was glowing from her Dawson's Creek fame, a rising star with soft charm and big dreams. Tom, already 43, was a global icon carrying massive hits like Top Gun, Jerry Maguire, and Mission Impossible on his back. His name alone could fill theaters worldwide. For Katie, this wasn't just another Hollywood crush. Years earlier, she told 17 magazine that her dream was to marry Tom Cruise. It sounded innocent, almost playful, like something you'd never expect to come true. But when Tom first saw her, he reportedly told his team, "I'm going to marry her." And everything moved fast, really fast. Within weeks, the impossible suddenly became real. Their chemistry was loud, intense, and impossible to miss. Cameras caught them holding hands in Rome, laughing like nothing else existed. Even Tom, known for guarding his private life, looked completely swept up in emotion. Then came the moment that made the entire world gasp. On Oprah Winfrey's show, Tom jumped on the couch and shouted, "I'm in love." Some people thought it was romantic, others thought it was strange, but nobody could look away. On April 18, 2006, their daughter Suri was born, a baby who instantly became the symbol of their whirlwind love story. Tom called her birth the happiest day of my life and described her as a miracle. But even that moment followed the beliefs shaping his world, Scientology. Katie, raised as a Catholic school kid from Toledo, suddenly found herself navigating a completely different reality. Her pregnancy and Suri's birth followed Scientology traditions, including a silent birth where no one in the room was allowed to speak. Even Tom bought his own sonogram machine to track the pregnancy from home. Outsiders found it intense and unusual, but to Tom, it was all devotion and control wrapped as love. Their wedding later that year looked straight out of a royal fantasy, a lavish ceremony at a 15th century castle in Italy with a price tag that turned heads and locked their fairy tale in place. Reportedly costing over $3 million, the wedding was pure luxury. Katie wore Giorgio Armani, Tom beamed with pride, and the guest list was stacked with power names like Jennifer Lopez, Will Smith, and the Beckhams. From the outside, it looked like a dream locked in gold. But behind those polished smiles, unease was already creeping in. Katie's parents, lifelong Catholics, felt nervous about the world their daughter and granddaughter had stepped into. The beliefs, the secrecy, the control, it all felt off. And just like they feared, the fairy tale shine didn't last. Life around the couple slowly became tighter, quieter, and far more controlled. Privacy wasn't just privacy anymore. It was structure, belief, and power shaping every move. Tom truly believed everything he was doing came from love and protection. But for Katie, that same world began to feel like isolation closing in. And for Suri, this marked the start of a childhood that would never feel normal or free like other kids her age.
By 2007, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes still looked untouchable to the public. Red carpets, private jets, magazine covers, the Hollywood dream was still alive on the surface, but behind closed doors, cracks were forming fast, and no one outside could see them yet. They looked flawless together, the superstar actor, his glowing wife, and their picture-perfect daughter. But beneath that smooth image, something was shifting. Even if cameras couldn't catch it, friends started to notice small things. Katie was rarely seen alone. Every time she stepped out, someone from Tom's inner circle, often connected to Scientology, was right there, moving quietly, always watching. Even during casual outings, calm, observant faces surrounded her, tracking every move she made. One night at dinner, journalist Maureen Orth noticed strange tension when fans approached their table. Katie smiled politely, then said something that made Orth pause. "Oh, we don't go outside very much." It sounded harmless, but to people familiar with strict systems and control, it said everything. Tom remained the same intense force he'd always been. Confident, charming, and deeply committed to his beliefs. He had become one of Scientology's most visible public figures, openly defending the organization and promoting its celebrity center. To him, it wasn't just belief, it was structure, discipline, and purpose. But for Katie, those same walls felt impossible to cross safely. Her parents, Martin and Kathleen Holmes, watched from the outside with growing concern. As devoted Catholics, they never felt comfortable with the secretive structure shaping her daughter's life. Over time, visits became less frequent, and the distance grew heavier. Friends later said Katie seemed distant, almost rehearsed, repeating the same careful lines about Tom, like someone afraid to say the wrong thing. "He's amazing, he's wonderful." Katie kept saying it, almost like she was trying to convince herself. But the bright spark that once made her shine was slowly fading. Little by little, the energy people once recognized started to disappear. At the same time, Tom's adopted children with Nicole Kidman, Bella, and Connor were already deeply committed Scientologists, fully raised inside the belief system. For Tom, it felt natural that his youngest child would eventually follow the same path. But Katie wasn't ready to hand over that kind of control over her daughter's future, especially when she didn't fully understand the system guiding it all. So she began pulling back, quietly, slowly, and very carefully. No drama, no noise, just distance. By 2010, rumors started spreading that she felt boxed in. She skipped certain church events, reconnected with old friends, and spent more time in New York, away from Tom's strict routine. Behind the scenes, she wasn't drifting, she was planning, gathering information, preparing for something she couldn't afford to get wrong. By 2011, the cracks were impossible to ignore. Katie's public smiles looked tighter, her movements more guarded. What once looked like a fairy tale now looked like someone barely holding herself together. And every time she held her daughter's hand a little tighter, she was already building her escape plan. A plan that would soon shock Hollywood and shatter the image of the perfect family. Then came June 29th, 2012, the day Hollywood froze. News broke that Katie Holmes had filed for divorce from Tom Cruise just days before his 50th birthday. The timing stunned everyone. But this wasn't just a breakup. It was protection, strategy, and survival. Tom later admitted he never saw it coming. "It hit me hard," he said softly. "Life can do that to you." What he didn't know is that Katie had spent months preparing, moving carefully like someone who knew she was being watched at every turn. She changed phones, hired new security, replaced staff she feared were reporting back to church-linked handlers. Every move was planned like a covert operation. Her father, Martin Holmes, a lawyer known for sharp strategy, became her quiet anchor. He had helped craft the prenup years earlier and now used it to map out her exit. Katie chose New York as her legal battleground, knowing the state's custody laws favored the parent focused on protecting a child's future. Everything was filed in total secrecy. While Tom was in Iceland filming, unaware and out of the loop, he found out about the divorce the same way the rest of the world did, through headlines. For a man known for total control, this was a devastating shock. Court documents later made Katie's motive clear: protection. She wanted full custody, full control over schooling, medical decisions, and spiritual direction. Her concern wasn't aimed at Tom personally, but at the powerful system surrounding him. Former Scientologists later claimed Katie feared her daughter could one day be pushed toward the organization's strict internal programs when she got older, and that was a future she refused to accept. She refused to take the risk, not even once. The legal battle ended almost as fast as it began. In just 11 days, everything was finalized. Tom agreed to pay around $400,000 a year in child support until adulthood, plus additional costs for health insurance and education. But money was never Katie's goal, not even close. What she wanted was separation, legal separation, physical separation, and spiritual separation. The very next day after the settlement, she and her daughter vanished from Los Angeles like smoke in the air. When photographers finally spotted them, they weren't hiding behind gates or security. They were walking quietly through Chelsea, New York, hand in hand. No guards, no handlers, no pressure. Katie looked exhausted, but something had changed. She looked lighter, free. She even smiled, a real smile, one she hadn't shown publicly in years. And that smile was for her daughter. This new life came with distance, real distance. The father who once carried his child down red carpets and called her my miracle was suddenly gone. Not through anger, not through a public fight, just gone. In that quiet space, a new chapter began, one neither Hollywood nor any powerful system could control. After the divorce, Tom's world and his daughter's world split into two completely separate lives. In 2013, Tom gave a rare deposition during a lawsuit, and lawyers asked the question everyone had avoided. Had Katie left to protect her daughter from Scientology? Tom pushed back, calling the question offensive. But then he admitted it was true as one of the assertions, the closest he ever came to acknowledging the real divide. That same year, reports claimed Tom had seen his daughter only once since the divorce, a short private meeting. After that, nothing. No photos, no confirmed visits, just silence. In the years that followed, Tom threw himself deeper into his career. Mission Impossible films, the long-awaited Top Gun sequel, world tours, daring stunts that grew more extreme every year. Fans cheered as he jumped from planes and clung to speeding aircraft, but far from those bright lights, his daughter was growing up without him. Meanwhile, Katie rebuilt a calm, grounded life in New York. She enrolled her daughter in a private Manhattan school, walks to local parks, small cafes, dance classes, simple routines that helped her grow up feeling normal. Friends described her as bright, warm, and surprisingly down-to-earth. For someone born into celebrity chaos, she stayed far from the Hollywood spotlight. No red carpets, no press, no flashing cameras. As she entered her teenage years, she grew into a near-mirror image of her mother. Same eyes, same gentle smile, same quiet strength. And whenever her father's name came up, she would calmly change the subject and move on.
Publicly, Tom stopped mentioning her altogether. Privately, insiders said he continued covering education and medical needs. Still, after more than a decade, there were no photos of them together. The man who could shut down streets with a movie premiere somehow couldn't rebuild the bridge to his youngest child. It felt like two worlds drifting to opposite ends of the universe. Then came a shift, a new name, a new chapter. By 2021, she was no longer just known as a celebrity's daughter. She was carving her own path. She enrolled at New York's LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, the legendary school that inspired the movie Fame, stepping fully into a future that belonged to her alone. She sang, she acted, she directed short films with classmates, and slowly found her own creative voice. Then, during her senior year musical, she made a choice that revealed something deeper stirring inside her. When the cast list for the Addams Family musical was released, people noticed something instantly. Her name wasn't listed as Suri Cruz, it read Suri Knoll, using her mother's middle name. This wasn't just a stage name, it was a statement, a clean break, a quiet but powerful shift into her own identity. When she graduated in June 2024, that same name appeared boldly on the official list, and one absence spoke louder than anything else. Tom wasn't there for the ceremony. Instead, he was thousands of miles away, spotted at a Taylor Swift concert in London. For longtime fans who remembered the proud father from 2006, the contrast hit hard. Katie, however, was right there in New York, sitting among other parents, clapping, wiping her eyes, watching her daughter step fully into adulthood. She had guided her child without Hollywood armor and without a father by their side, relying only on grit, protection, and love. Later that summer, Suri headed to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, choosing to major in fashion. Katie helped her move into the dorm herself, carrying boxes, no bodyguards, no flashing cameras, just a mother and daughter creating a normal moment in a life that had never been normal. That fall, Katie began directing a new film titled Happy Hours, reuniting with her former Dawson's Creek co-star Joshua Jackson. During filming in 2025, Suri visited the set, now 19, calm, confident, dressed low-key in khaki pants, a white tank top, and red sneakers. Most people didn't even recognize her. She moved differently, like someone who had finally claimed her own lane. The message was clear. She wasn't living as Tom Cruise's daughter anymore. She was Suri Knoll, and her freedom wasn't a rumor now, it was real. Then came a moment that quietly broke hearts online. In October 2025, Suri was spotted in New York, sitting on a doorstep, head in her hands, looking drained and deep in thought. Minutes later, Katie arrived in an Uber, sat beside her, and gently comforted her. They spoke softly, then walked off together for pastries. To strangers, it looked ordinary, but to anyone who knew their story, it felt like proof of how tightly they've held onto each other since everything changed. Now 19, Suri is a college sophomore studying fashion, writing music, and figuring out who she wants to be. Her relationship with her father remains distant. He reportedly continues covering education and medical expenses, but the two haven't been photographed together or spoken publicly in over a decade. Meanwhile, Tom keeps pushing forward. New films, bigger risks, even preparing to shoot scenes in outer space with NASA and SpaceX. The man who conquered Hollywood now aims beyond Earth itself, yet the distance between him and his youngest child may be the one gap he can't cross. Those close to the family say Katie refuses to live in bitterness. She focuses on growth and gratitude instead. She calls Suri an incredible person and says her greatest pride is watching her daughter's strength and independence bloom. Still, even with a new name and a new path, Suri carries a story shaped by love, pressure, and the quiet weight of growing up around fame. For 19 years, the world has watched their lives unfold like a movie missing pages, a legendary actor commanding the screen, and a daughter who stepped out of his shadow with quiet resolve. And as Suri Knoll builds her own world, one question still lingers in the background. Can time heal what silence created, or has the distance grown too wide to ever close? If you felt this story, don't look away. Stay with us for more untold moments.